I'm going to be honest, I just cannot believe this. It is always the same. A game can have the best update it has ever had, and yet there will still be people out there, PC gamer, that go, actually, no, this update is not great, and it takes something special away from the game. Hello guys, and welcome to the channel. So what I want to do is discuss the balance update, which has hit Helldivers 2, which has completely reinvigorated the player base, has completely, I mean, look at this. It has completely reinvigorated the player base. I'm going to say it again. It has reinvigorated the player base. It has straight up increased the concurrent player numbers to the highest level it has been at from an update. Now, you can see two things on this graph. I'll just get out of the way again. The first little spike you can see, that is the Escalation of Freedom update. Now, you've got to remember, that update was, well, a lot of content, questionable content, but it was content. New stuff added to the game, which takes a long time to make. The next big spike we see is the balance update, which is straight up just a balance update. There was no new content added in that update. It was just a balance update, and look at what it has done. It has reinvigorated, I should say, the player base in an awesome way. However, this is what we kind of need to look at, because we're going to go through this. We're going to take a look at what the devs are going to do in the future, because we do have some more info on more updates coming to the game. But I can hand over heart say my review of this update is it is friggin' incredible. And the game is still difficult. There are easier things in the game now. It's easier to kill Bile Titans and Chargers, but the game is still stupidly difficult. I'm going to put some footage up here. You tell me if this is easy. Because apparently, according to PC Gamer, yeah, the game's got too easy now, and threat has been taken out of the game, and it's just not as hard as it used to be. And yeah, and I'm sure you guys can see from the footage that's running, I am getting annihilated here. I mean, yeah, it's difficulty 10. It's super Helldivers against the bots. We're near a bot super base, so it's got those like ridiculous turrets that just destroy you from range. It is difficult. It is super difficult. We did manage to get this mission complete, but it was very, very hard. I did not feel at any point this was easy. Now, there are some changes we should talk about with the game itself. So things like you take additional limb damage, but you take less head damage. So against some enemies, so like the bugs, they do a lot more damage to you when they're closer to you, because you've got, well, bigger hitboxes around all your limbs, haven't you, than your head. Obviously, granted, if you got slashed in the head, you would just basically get wrecked and die. The same applies to the bots when they're firing at you from across the map. They hit you in legs and arms or whatever. It does more damage to you, and it does feel like, oh my god, we're more glass cannon, which we straight up are. That's what the balance of the game is. It's giving us more damage, but making us basically die faster. So it's quite interesting, because death is part of the game in Helldivers 2. Anyway, let's get stuck into all of this, because you guys are just going to be like, what is actually going on here? I want you guys to just take a look at this first, right? Because this tells you all you need to know about this website. Now, PC Gamer, it's an old website, been around for a long, long time. But, and I understand there's loads of different contributors, and I understand the state of like games journalism. These people, I don't know, you know, they're getting them off Fiverr. I don't know. It's probably being a bit too harsh for them. There are some incredible game journalists out there, but whatever. This, look at it. Look at it. 60. 60. They gave Space Marine 2 60. If you look at all of the reviews for Space Marine 2, this is the lowest one, basically. It's insane. This is not a 60 game on whatever scale they've got. It should be 90. We all know this to be true, so yeah. They like to do things to drive clicks. They like the Doom element. They like to be a bit clickbaity. They like to say, oh, no, wait, it's not as good as everyone thought. It's terrible. So people come in and take a look, and they get another click. And hey, they get more traffic to the website, they serve more adverts, they make more money, and then you can see the cycle repeating. Anyway, what we want to take a look at is this. So this is the article in question, right? So that's why Arrowhead didn't want to buff everything. Helldivers 2 has lost some of the friction that made it special. Okay, it's an opinion piece. Let's go and take a look at what they're trying to say. So back when Helldivers 2 was first released, watching a Bile Titan emerge from the dirt would send a small shiver down my spine. Just one Titan with its 4 towering legs, thick armored carapace, and noxious acid spray could instantly wipe a squad of Helldivers and spin a mission out of control. Bile Titans, to a lesser extent, any Chargers, demanded a squad's attention with their dramatic strides and unmatched lethality. Fighting them was a thrill because they were essentially boss encounters that could kick off at any point in the mission. But after yesterday's big buff, everything patch, Helldivers 2's largest enemies have lost a lot of their sting. Arrowhead boosted the damage on loads of underwhelming guns and crucially reworked enemy armor, so that way more support weapons, airstrikes, and even some primary guns rip straight through thick armor. Now when a Bile Titan or Charger Impaler or Hulk tank or even a Factory Strider shows up on the map, our game plan is the same as any other bug or bot. Shoot it with the biggest gun we'll have and it'll die quickly. 2, we're beheading the Bile Titans before they have any time to spew acid, exploding charger butts before they can even charge, and ending Impalers with napalm barrages before its tentacles can whip anybody around. And newfound bulldozing abilities are empowering, but they've also reduced what used to be Helldivers' most intense showdowns to routine. I'm not saying I want to go back to the old... Okay, so after just saying it's all bad, I want to go back, then they say, oh, no, actually, I don't want to go back to the old days of 48 hours ago, because that sucked for other reasons. Yes, Bile Titans were a proper existential threat. They really weren't an existential threat. Bile Titans, the best way to deal with them, I'm not sure if the guy writing the article is aware of this, was to just run away from them. That is crap game design. You want to fight them and kill them. So Arrowhead have gone, you know what, we're going to buff their weapons so you can just engage them and kill them. So even if you don't have something like the recoilless rifle or whatever, you know, the EAT or some sort of stratagem which is designed to just take out heavy enemies, you can still damage them and take them out. It is incredibly better in every single way. At what point is just running away good gameplay? But apparently this article writer was just like, no, you just died to them. I don't know. It's very weird. Anyway, we felt forced to bring the 3 same stratagems to every tango. Orbital laser, 500-kilogram bomb, which did nothing, I'll have you know, before it was buffed literally in the last patch. So again, insane. And rail cannon strike. And knights in Helldivers were no longer need to begin with deciding who will take up the mantle of obligatory rocket guy, so everybody else can have fun experimenting with weird arc thrower builds or equipping 3 different flamethrowers. It is unreservedly awesome that I can now unreservedly as well. Awesome that I can now square up against the charge with my favorite support weapon, the anti-material rifle, and blow its head off with a few accurate shots. So what is this like? What is this article even saying? It's like, no, I don't think this is great, but actually, no, I really like the changes. It just makes no sense. You know, you've got to think what they were trying to do was give you more options with the weapons, so you had more options in more scenarios, and different loadouts are more viable instead of just having the same loadouts for every single goddamn mission. And I will say as well, going back to the start of the game, when it came out, things like Bile Titans and Chargers, you just destroyed them with the railgun. I don't know whether you guys were around then, but the railgun was just like broken and you just used it on, and that was it. Everybody had a railgun. There was no diversity. Now we're at a point where the railgun, hilariously, is actually stronger than it was, but, well, when it's fully charged, but it is... There's so many other options, so many other weapons, that it is just way more engaging. And fundamentally, we are now attacking the enemies rather than just running away from them as the best course of action. It is a net positive in every single way. There is no negatives to this. It is just, this article is literally insane. So what I want to do now is jump over to X and take a look at a couple of comments from Johan Pilestad. I can never say your surname, Johan. I do apologise. Pilstad. I've listened to the video back where you introduce yourself, and I'm trying to say it, but I can't say it. Whatever. Johan, anyway, the game's director. So he comes out and he replies to this comment over on X or Twitter. Everything is great, but we need a new, harder difficulty now. And he responds with, I agree. And we do, right? We do need a harder difficulty. But the game is still difficult in its own special way. As you guys have seen throughout the footage in this video where I was just getting annihilated by the bots. It is difficult, but they can give us harder difficulties. And this has been the thing I've been sort of, you know, discussing with the game itself and the weapon balance. They can make the weapons feel strong, but then just increase the difficulty levels. That's what they should do. They shouldn't be in a scenario where they're trying to sort of change weapons or deciding weapons are too strong, so we're going to tone weapons down. It's like, no, guys, just make a harder mode. If the weapons are too strong at lower levels, who even cares, right? If you're running around on like difficulty 5 and just deleting everything, hey, that's great. Go and play on difficulty 7, 8, 9, and then 10, then try and delete stuff. And if you're still doing it then, hey, then they can add difficulty 12, difficulty 13. They can change difficulty in clever ways. It's not just about increasing the numbers of mobs. They could have like, imagine having like specialist mobs that spawn on certain difficulty settings. Like imagine if there was like an anti sort, I don't know, I'm going crazy with this, like a predator style like anti Helldiver squad which spawns from the bugs, and it's like special evolved bugs that are going to chase you down through the mission, and they're like going to do, I don't know, dastardly things to you. Or maybe even they can call in their own stratagems. Imagine that, having like a bug airstrike called on you and stuff like that would be really cool. So there's a lot of options, but I think now definitely we're in the right frame of mind with the game where it's straight up. The guns are very strong, and now we can start increasing difficulty. So that's it. It's a really good foundation. So let's have a quick chat about some buffs coming to the game, because this is what we really want to see. More buffs, more buffs. So over on Twitter, Johan was asked, is there any plans on buffing jump pack cooldown next patch, or is it off the table? And he says, we're looking at the jump pack next patch. So this is awesome. Jump pack, it's still really fun to use, but I'd like it if it was faster and you could go higher. It'd be awesome. Or maybe you could just grab an ally and throw them, although that might not be too awesome because they might fall from the sky without a jump pack and break their legs and die. But yeah, the jetpack is getting buffed. So this Twitter account is like one of those accounts which it's a bot account that just regurgitates Reddit posts as if it's its own posts over on Twitter for the engagement, whatever. But it says this, right? Arrowhead, you better not let us down. We know you. We know that we know, and you know that we know. And Bayonet, right? Okay, cool. But then Johan actually responded. Let me tell you about Redacted. So, yeah, there must be maybe a Bayonet coming at some point. If there is, I mean, I'll absolutely take that and just go and pointlessly bayonet some bugs and die in the process as well. So this one I really like. So he gets asked on Twitter, can we get a massive buff to the Purifier? It was bad before the patch, but now after all the buffs, the other weapons, it's kind of awful. Please tell me it's in the next patch. And he says, yes, we already have it on the internal build. It will be able to be fired as the Scorcher, which would be sick, but you can also charge it up as well if you want a blast, which is awesome. So more buffs are coming to the game. You've got to love it. So there you go, guys. This has been a categorically, overwhelmingly net positive for Helldivers 2. The game was trending down. The game was losing its player base. The game was losing the sort of like support of its players, which is even worse than just player base declining. It's people were not even interested because they're like, oh, that's the game that used to be fun, and then they took all the fun away. They're actually re-injecting that back into the game now, which I think is a massive, massive net positive for this game in every single way. There are idiots out there that are going to write clickbait articles, clickbait YouTube videos, all of that saying, this is bad, this is bad. It is not bad. This is literally the best thing they could have done for the game. The game is a power fantasy for a space marine, effectively. You are in space against overwhelming odds with massive firepower. That's what this game is. It did begin as sort of like that, or at least that's what the player base were experiencing. But the devs had the whole thing of, well, we kind of want that bit of mil sim in this. We kind of want it to be a bit more realistic in some ways. We're going to bring weapon power down. We don't want it to be too easy. But they've actually realized they've gone away for a few weeks, come back, looked at their, falling concurrent player numbers, looked at the reasons why this could be happening, and have changed the game in an incredibly awesome way. And there are no negatives to this, guys. I challenge you to go and find a negative. I'm playing more Helldivers 2, and I bet you're playing more Helldivers 2. It is categorically a great update to the game, and I cannot wait to see what they do going forward. And obviously, this sets them up in good stead for things like adding the new faction, the Illuminate, when they get added to the game, or even just bits of new content that may come down the line. All right, guys, thank you for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. I've been Stylosa. Yeah, and if you enjoyed the video, do subscribe to the channel. It really helps a ton. And I'll catch you lovely lot on the next video. See you soon.